Stephanie White, Caitlin Clark, little interaction here that seems like Caitlin Clark wasn't too happy with whatever was going on between her and the coaching staff tonight. You got Stephanie White doing the yapping that she does. Caitlin Clark doesn't want to hear it. Physically cringing. Look at this. Physically cringing, looking physically ill. Looking physically ill. Physically ill by whatever Stephanie White's saying. Like, damn, I'm tired of hearing this.
Hey, Caitlin Clark had just gone through a game she would probably rather forget. But what happened after the final buzzer may have created even more questions. As cameras looked for reactions, attention quickly moved toward the sideline, where something seemed clearly unusual. Why did Caitlin look so distant? Was there tension between her and Stephanie White, or was something else happening behind the scenes that fans had completely overlooked?
Pissed off. I'm still pissed. This was straight up sabotage. Stephanie White, you are a bum. Aaliyah Boston, you are even more of a bum. You are a $6 million piece of garbage out there. Your ass can't make a layup. You refuse to pass the ball to Caitlin Clark. You stink. You stink. You've been intentionally not passing the ball to Caitlin Clark for the last 7-8 games. We've been watching and counting. I've been watching your ass not pass her the.
Caitlin Clark had a rough game. The Indiana Fever suffered a frustrating loss, and then the cameras captured a moment that sent fans into full investigation mode. It was not a technical foul, an ejection, or some huge argument that forced security to step between anyone.
Y'all thought we was done? We ain't done yet, dog. I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark is letting all the cats out the bag. There's too much surrounding this team nationally and internationally in regards to Sophie Cunningham, in regards to Caitlin Clark assaults, in regards to Stephanie White not taking up for her players. Should we keep going with storyline after storyline coming out about this team? And not to mention, Stephanie White not challenging any of Caitlin.
That was actually what made the moment more interesting. Caitlin seemed to turn away from Stephanie White, and suddenly one question started dominating the discussion. Was this simply frustration after a terrible night, or was something more serious beginning to appear underneath the surface? Because when a star struggles, people normally focus on the missed shots.
Get over here. Get over here, Cece. Let me talk to you. Don't you walk away from me. Yeah, I'm walking away. I'm walking away. Again, folks, not the most entertaining game. Weren't too many screens set for Caitlin Clark today. Personally, I wanted to see her be a little bit more aggressive. She finished taking 15 shots. Me personally, she finished the first half shooting 2 for 7. Shoot, if we're shooting 2 for 7, at that point, shoot 2 for 11. Keep hunting that shot. Keep hunting that shot. Keep hunting that.
When a team loses, people usually point toward the defense. But when the body language between a franchise player and her coach becomes the main story after the game, the conversation can change very quickly. And this particular loss gave fans plenty to debate. The Fever entered the game against a Dallas Wings team that had been struggling. Yet Indiana still walked away with a frustrating 91-85 loss.
91-85. I'm disgusted, B. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Kelsey Mitchell did have a good game. She dropped 37 points. She officially passed A'ja Wilson, so she has the most consecutive 20-point games. With that being said, Stephanie White, can we get back to trying to win basketball games now? She has the streak. She won it. She won it. Can we get back to trying to win now? Because I think this is nasty. All right, it was blatantly clear to me that she was making this game about Kelsey Mitchell, to the point that Aaliyah Boston's not playing good. Caitlin Clark's not playing good. Like, let me tell you something stupid. We ain't gonna win nothing like this.
Caitlin Clark finished with 10 points, 9 assists, and 4 rebounds, but her shooting was poor as she went 4 for 15 from the field and 2 for 8 from three-point range. There is no reason to hide how difficult that performance was. Caitlin simply did not play well. She missed shots she normally makes, struggled to establish a rhythm, and never looked fully comfortable within the offense. For a player who can suddenly change a game with one deep three and turn a normal possession into a highlight before defenders can react, this was a night when very little seemed to work. But this is where the discussion becomes more complicated, because one of the biggest complaints from fans was not only that Caitlin missed shots. They felt she never had a real chance to find her rhythm. And to be clear, this is not an attack on Kelsey Mitchell. When a player scores 37 points, Nobody should act as though she did something wrong by playing well. Mitchell did what a scorer is supposed to do when chances were available. She attacked the basket, made shots, earned free throws, and handled a huge portion of the offensive responsibility.
With them seeing Caitlin Clark climbing that MVP ladder, and they said, hell no, we are sabotaging this, and that is exactly what happened. The Indiana Fever lose to a team in the Dallas Wings that lost 8 out of their last 11 games. You could thank Stephanie White, who wanted to make it all about Kelsey Mitchell. I am disgusted with the Indiana Fever. I am disgusted. Stephanie White, get your bum ass in the trash. Get your bum ass in the trash. You are a bum of a coach. You are terrible. You are terrible. You mean to tell me the very first play of the game was ran for Kelsey Mitchell? Caitlin Clark threw her a bounce pass. Kelsey Mitchell went to turn the corner, got fouled, went to the free throw line.
The issue, according to frustrated fans, was the balance. They watched the offense and felt Caitlin was not getting enough chances to settle into the game before Indiana started falling behind. They noticed fewer early pick and roll plays built around her, limited movement intended to create open three-point attempts, and several possessions where she seemed to pass the ball away without receiving it again. That difference matters because nobody is saying Caitlin Clark should take every shot. The point is that one of basketball's most dangerous offensive players should remain actively involved in the offense. Nobody is asking for a Caitlin Clark Basketball Association where everyone else stands around waiting for permission to touch the ball. That is not how basketball works. When she spends too much time standing away from the action, the offense can begin looking completely disconnected. That was the frustration around this game. Fans felt Kelsey Mitchell was being established early while Caitlin was expected to find her rhythm later. By the time the Fever started creating better situations for her, she had already missed enough shots to make the rest of the night much harder.
Mug, get hacked down there every play. We seen her get tackled tonight alone. Well, I'm ready to tell you. There's more, because Caitlin Clark is single-handedly, subliminally telling us fans that there's issues going on with Stephanie White. Now, Caitlin Clark was on the sideline. Stephanie White was trying to talk to Caitlin Clark. Now, this should not come as a surprise. When Caitlin Clark gets frustrated, she don't want to talk to nobody. And this was another situation like that. Only thing different is Caitlin Clark sat, she listened for a little bit, kind of turned away, walked away, went to the bench. Caitlin Clark got back in the game, got the ball, and Caitlin got like this move, a gesture. You can tell when Caitlin Clark not finna pass.
Once a shooter loses rhythm, basketball can quickly become a mental challenge as well as a physical one. Every missed attempt adds more pressure to the next shot, every possession starts feeling heavier, and even an aggressive defender can suddenly become harder to handle. Instead of playing naturally and reacting to the action, a player can slowly become more focused on the misses that already happened. Caitlin Clark appeared to experience that kind of frustration as the game went on. And although she tried to become more aggressive later, finding the rhythm she had lost earlier became increasingly difficult. As the frustration grew, attention eventually moved away from the missed shots and toward a moment involving Stephanie White. A clip began circulating that appeared to show Caitlin turning away while White was trying to speak with her. That short interaction quickly spread. The truth is that a few seconds of video cannot explain the entire relationship between a player and coach. Caitlin had played a difficult game. The Fever were also dealing with the disappointment of a frustrating loss, so emotions were naturally high. It is completely possible that the moment showed nothing more than a player frustrated with herself and ready to move past a difficult sequence. But once something like that is caught on camera, especially when Caitlin Clark is involved, fans are naturally going to examine every movement as if they have suddenly been hired to investigate basketball behavior.
Oh, what did this thing end? It's a 6-point game, but guys, that's a little deceiving. The entire second half felt like all wings. You kept thinking Caitlin Clark was going to get hot and start doing something. That didn't happen. Kelsey Mitchell had a big damn game. Real big. But in the end, it was not enough. It was not enough at all.
That is the unusual reality of professional sports today. Once fans believe there might be tension between two people, almost every interaction begins looking like proof. If a coach talks to a player, viewers start wondering whether the conversation is encouraging or negative. If the player looks away, social media can immediately start predicting the end of a relationship that may not even have a problem. Before long, one uncomfortable camera angle can create countless theories about what might be happening privately. Most of the discussion around this clip is based on body language, timing, and personal interpretation. But even if the online reaction has gone further than the available evidence, the moment has still raised a more important basketball question. Are Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever consistently getting the most from their offensive system? That question becomes even more interesting when looking at Aaliyah Boston's role. Boston finished with 14 points and 9 rebounds, but some fans were frustrated by what they saw as missed chances involving the connection between her and Caitlin.
The only one playing good, and we're going to win games. Your ass might want to go look at her record before Clark got here. See how many games she was winning. She was winning playing like that. 5 games, 6 games. Her and AB winning 13 games in the season. Like, bro, you need Clark to be in her bag. When Clark is in her bag, the defense tightens up on her. Now people are open. Now Kelsey can cut. Now all kind of good things happen. When you go through Kelsey, everybody's just standing there. What don't you get about that yet? Like, oh my God. Like, Clark, please, I need you to get away from her, man. I know, I love Steph, we ride, whatever. We need you to go somewhere where you're a priority, bro. Because you're not the main priority on this team.
Even with that said, concerns about the offensive chemistry should not simply be ignored because Caitlin and Boston have the potential to become one of the league's strongest two-player combinations. Caitlin's ability to stretch the defense and create passing chances, combined with Boston's strength around the basket, should constantly force opponents into difficult decisions. When their connection works properly, defenders have to choose carefully because helping too much on Caitlin can open space for Boston, while giving Boston too much attention can leave Caitlin room to attack or create opportunities for another teammate. That kind of balance is what makes an elite offense difficult to defend. When the ball moves with purpose, the difference becomes clear, and those missed opportunities became more obvious as this game continued. While Indiana struggled to build steady momentum, Dallas found enough balance to take control. Jessica Shepard had a strong performance, especially in the first half, and finished with 26 points and 8 rebounds. Enrique Inali scored 32 points while Paige Buchers also contributed despite struggling with her shooting. The Wings did not need everyone to play perfectly because they created enough offense, made key plays when chances appeared, and took advantage of an Indiana team that could not consistently find its rhythm.
Be the weirdest thing, ladies and gentlemen, I've ever seen in my life. Teams can't stop the Fever, so now they're resorting to dirty tactics to defeat the Fever, to slow down the Fever. This can potentially, with no exaggeration, kill a Fever. A player can lose their life from what's happening with these opposing teams that the Indiana Fever have played, not once, but back-to-back games. This is a very, very, very suspicious trend that is happening.
That is what made the Fever's defeat especially frustrating for their fans. Indiana was not playing an unbeatable opponent that dominated every part of the game. This was a matchup that felt winnable, which made every missed chance stand out even more once the final score was settled. When a team loses a close game that many people believe it should have won, everyone immediately starts searching for reasons. That search becomes even stronger when the team includes one of the most watched players in basketball. Some fans blamed Caitlin's poor shooting, while others questioned the coaching decisions and how offensive possessions were being distributed. Others pointed toward the supporting players, while some believed the Fever placed too much focus on getting Kelsey Mitchell into an offensive rhythm without doing enough to help Caitlin find hers. The important point is that several of these explanations can be true at the same time without creating a secret theory about the loss. Caitlin's poor performance deserves criticism, but the team could still have used better offensive balance. Stephanie White can also make decisions that fans dislike without every decision meaning she is deliberately working against Caitlin Clark.
I got to tell you, this is arguably one of the worst games she's ever had. 10 points, 4 of 15, 2 for 8 from three-point range, 9 assists. I know that looks like a double-double. Woof, it was rough. Kelsey Mitchell went bonkers, but she missed a layup. She had a big steal, drove in, up for the layup, and if she'd have hit it, it would have been a 3-point game.
Unfortunately, once a frustrating game reaches social media, balanced discussion often disappears. Fans usually prefer a simple person to blame instead of a complicated explanation. They want to know who caused the problem, whether the coach has lost the locker room, whether the star player is secretly angry, and whether the entire organization is about to fall apart before the next game. Reality is usually much more complicated. Complicated explanations are simply not as entertaining as saying the Fever have officially entered a basketball civil war. Still, Caitlin's body language was important because it showed something the statistics could not completely capture. She looked frustrated with the game, the missed opportunities, and the way the night had developed. The bigger question is whether that frustration was only connected to this one game, and that is where Kelsey Mitchell still needs opportunities because she remains one of the league's most dangerous scorers. Aaliyah Boston also needs a strong role because her confidence and development matter to the team's future, while the rest of the roster must also feel trusted within the system. But creating balance does not mean Caitlin should spend long stretches simply drawing attention while the offense operates without her. Indiana needs a middle ground where it can use her special abilities without becoming predictable. That balance matters even more when Caitlin is struggling because strong coaching is not always about expecting a superstar to fix every problem by herself.
Dallas Wings head coach Jose Fernandez exposed Stephanie White in the worst way, icing Caitlin Clark out of the game. He let it be known the Dallas Wings' main priority was Caitlin Clark. They were fine with Kelsey going off because that means no one else was going to be involved. And they weren't even forced to execute their game plan that much on Caitlin Clark because bozo bonehead Stephanie White completely eliminated her from the game herself. Jose Fernandez just exposed this clown of a coach that the Indiana Fever.
Sometimes the best way to help a struggling player is to give her one simple chance to rebuild confidence. A good screen can create an open shot. An easy basket can calm a player's nerves. And one successful possession can completely change what happens during the next few minutes. Once a player sees a shot fall, confidence can begin returning. The defense has to respect that threat again, and suddenly the entire offense can become more effective. That is why this game should be viewed as more than another bad shooting night on Caitlin Clark's stat sheet. It should remind everyone that even elite players need rhythm, structure, communication, and trust. Individual talent can win certain possessions, but strong teams need a system that regularly puts their best players into situations where they can succeed. If the interaction between Caitlin and Stephanie White was simply frustration in the moment, then the Fever should be able to move past it and focus on the next game. But if real tension is developing behind the scenes, Indiana needs to deal with it before that frustration starts affecting team chemistry. The Fever have too much at stake to allow confusion and dissatisfaction to become part of their identity, especially when every game involving Caitlin Clark is already being watched extremely closely.
I've been saying this for a very long time, and we just got further confirmation about it. Caitlin Clark is the biggest threat in the league. Caitlin Clark will demand the respect of the coaches. Fans on Twitter, fans online, fans at home, their words are just meaningless. My words included. What really matters is how coaches plan to stop the biggest threat on the team. And it's clear that every coach may not come out and say it, but every game plan remains consistent. The goal is to stop Caitlin Clark first and leave Kelsey Mitchell second. We got to get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands first, and we'll live with whatever happens.
Caitlin remains one of the most important and closely followed players in the sport, which means every bad performance and every uncomfortable interaction will receive much more attention than it might for another player. That level of attention can become exhausting and extremely unforgiving. For now, the biggest question remains that short moment between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White. Was Caitlin actually refusing to engage with her coach? Or did the camera simply catch a few seconds of frustration during an extremely disappointing game? Only the people inside the locker room know the full truth. Until Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White appear together again, fans will not only be watching the basketball. They will be watching their conversations, reactions, body language, and every interaction between possessions. Considering how quickly one frustrating game turned into a full investigation by fans using screenshots, slow motion clips, and theories about what might be happening, whatever comes next could create an even bigger discussion than the game that started it.